Go on, yes. Okay, so I'm going to seamlessly move from Jamie through to Raag, who's come to talk to us from MindJet. And again, as Jamie quite rightly says, the goal here is not to have these guys tell you how brilliant their software is. It's to show you just some of how it might link into particular processes. I think to give a perspective on the question over there about trying to come up with a recognized methodology, I think one of the most important things we can collectively do is tell the right sort of user stories, share case studies, show how other people in your type of role are using it. So we should be picking up with you and saying, okay, how are you using it, Andy, in your role? And again, trying to build a credible story for how to incorporate it into different types of job, I think is quite a challenge, but one we should be aiming at. So I'm going to hand over to Raag, who is coming to us from MindJet today, and he's going to, well, I'll just leave you to it, actually. Raag, how's that?
Great. Cheers, Liam. Great to be here. Hope you're all having a good afternoon. My name is Raag. I'm the UK sales manager for MindJet. If you don't know who MindJet are, we do mind mapping software. We're one of the market leaders in mind mapping software, and a bit about MindJet itself. If I could just there's some facts and figures about who we are. I'm fairly new to mind mapping myself. I've only been in this job for about 3 months or so. Mind mapping is fairly new to me. But I did get introduced to mapping when I was doing my master's a couple of years ago in business. So some of the tutors, they're not all of them, but some of the tutors introduced the framework of mind mapping to us. To actually sort of organise our thoughts and to organise the sheer mass of information we had to deal with in order to write our papers, to get through exams and things. We found it a really, really useful way to organise all that information, and actually to sort of thread your argument and to have all the backup cases and papers in order to write our assignments and to do our exams. So that was how I got introduced to mapping, and now I work for a mind mapping company. So the main topic of conversation today is to really discuss with you the 5 primary use cases in the enterprise space. So we provide enterprise software and mind mapping software, and we want to discuss with you the 5 primary use cases that we found. Okay. So first of all, no surprise. First use case is project management. Okay. Why project management? Is because mapping is a visual tool, as you all know. It shows you the big picture of the entire project, as well as all the details within the project itself. Okay. You can drill into quite a bit of detail into the actual project components, but it also puts the project into a context as well. Okay. You can also task management is key in terms of project management as well. Our software, you can assign tasks through Mind Manager itself, or you can use it with SharePoint. Okay, so SharePoint in the enterprise space is very common. You can store your maps in a SharePoint environment, assign tasks directly through SharePoint itself. You can also store all your supporting activities in the project as well. So things like meeting notes, presentations, and all the supporting documents you can actually put into a map for your project as well. We mentioned earlier that Microsoft Project obviously is a very popular project management tool in the enterprise space. But we've had feedback from our customers that said, Microsoft Project is a very complex, very heavy-duty tool to use, and very much used by project management professionals. So Mind Manager itself and mapping itself is great to use for non-project management professionals as well, and also to use maps in terms of specific components within a project. Okay, not the entire project, because some of these project can be, if you're dealing with certain IT projects, change management project, it could be absolutely huge. But if you're tasked to do a certain component of it, then maps are great to actually organise your thoughts and to produce that output. Okay, and the whole point of doing maps for a project is to increase your project success rate. Okay, so that's project management. Second use case we found that's very popular is visual information dashboards. Okay, maps are great for dashboards because they can clearly display data and you can drill into as much detail as you like. I mean, we certainly use these for our global sales forecasting calls. We have visual dashboards as well, and we use maps for that. And they obviously help you to communicate better. Next use case, personal productivity, of course. And maps are great for personal productivity. They're great for capturing meeting notes. You can display your presentations easily without using boring PowerPoint. To-do lists, you can use them for mini projects, all helping you save a hell of a lot of time. You can probably use maps for your own personal projects as well, like planning your kids' birthday parties, planning a holiday. So we found a lot of the people in the enterprise space use it for not just project management and things, but their own personal productivity as well. Next use case, strategy and business planning, of course. We found that a lot of the executive team members use maps to articulate their strategy and to use it to execute tasks as well. And this all leads to better decision making as well. And finally, last but not least, brainstorming and problem solving, of course. Maps are great for brainstorming. It can help you sort of capture ideas and actually link ideas together as well. And like I said, it keeps all the information in a context. So you've got an overall map which shows you the big picture, and then you can collapse and expand maps to show all the detail within the maps. And you can share ideas very easily as well. You can easily send these maps out, in the format that they're in, or you can export them, obviously, into different formats like Word and PDF format as well. And that all leads to helps you to think better and to have a better thought process as well. So those are the 5 primary use cases that we found to be used in the enterprise space, and like the previous speakers have said, it saves a hell of a lot of time using maps in the enterprise space, definitely. So that concludes my presentation. Really short and sweet, but welcome any questions. Thank you.
So, are there any questions for Raag before I ask my question that I've got Graham running around with the microphone? Any questions? Miko, down here.
Sure.
Thank you. I'm very interested about the visual information dashboards. I don't know your platform,
okay.
So I apologize for that. But do you have any examples on your system to just show us a bit of how the dashboards actually work? What is the output from that?
For instance, if we use our, like I said, our forecasting, for instance, we can embed Excel spreadsheets within a map itself, and you can do the calculations from different components within the map, and then have it as a as a front page. I can't show you the map because it's got personal information on there, but it does. You can have it. The calculations and the formulas can show up as a on the sort of front page. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So it's just the spreadsheet comes up on.
Yeah, and then you can you can go into detail into the specific components, into the subtopics of the map, and it will have all the the raw data in there, but then show it clearly on the front page. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Thank you.
Question over there, Fred.
Yeah, having used this product on both the PC and Macintosh platform, personally I found that the Mac, which is becoming, you've only to look around this room to see how many people are using it, but I don't find anywhere near the functionality in the Mac version that there is on the Windows. Have you any plans to address that?
Yes, we have, and that'll be coming out later on in the second half of this year. They'll be pretty much identical. We haven't developed the Mac product for a number of years at Mindjet, and it is slightly inferior, and the functionality is not as good as the PC version, but that will be addressed. It's in development now and will come out in the second half of this year.
Any other questions? All right.
One of my questions, sorry, pardon me, thanks very much. One of my questions, So I turn it off, and then not give me anything that works. Thanks. Okay. One of the weaknesses I've always encountered with mind maps is chronological order. So I'm wondering how Mindjet in project management helps with that. How do you deal with chronological order? How do you structure chronology in a mind map?
In terms of, so I don't quite understand.
Well, in a project you've got
in
a
a
start
project
point and an end point, and then you want to map out the chronology.
You can do that. There is functionality within Mind Manager. You can actually assign different. You can assign timeframes within the map, and you can export it into a Gantt chart as well, which shows different tasks. In a time frame. Yeah.
So it's exporting to Gantt that gives you the chronology.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Press one button and then you have the built in.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
What they said.
Yeah. Exactly what they said.
So, right, I had a question for you,
Sure.
which was, as somebody who is new, as someone who is new to mind mapping, as you said, someone who is relatively new to even newer, I suppose, to Mindjet. What are you seeing from that we've said earlier on in the room? There are some people here who are completely not familiar with mind mapping. I met a couple during the break. What is your take on it? As someone who's new to mind mapping, is trying to sell mind mapping into businesses, you are a UK sales manager, that is your role. What is the reaction you get when you try and introduce that? Can you just give me some sense? This is what I'm fascinated by, is when Andy over there is saying, I'd like to get more people using it, can you give him some tips? What have you learned?
Exactly. When I'm speaking to my top customers,
just raise that up.
Sorry. When I'm speaking to my key customers, we do have advocates like yourselves, the champions within an organisation who love it and they use it every day. But then there's the long tail of everyone else who have the software but don't really use it. But there's so many uses. What we're trying to get across is the value of using maps and how much time it can save you in your day-to-day work. I mean, I had one customer from BWC who said to me, "Well, it's taken me 3 hours to do 3 days' work." So it's a valuable tool, and you can use it in so many different ways. But trying to get that across to customers is challenging.
But you think the pitch in many ways is the time saving?
It's absolutely
efficiency. Yeah. A little bit what Jamie's talking about, effective working. I mean, I know Jamie's sort of done. He's working in similar sort of veins. So do we think the productivity, efficiency, time saving aspect is where we should be focused?
Yeah, exactly. And the real thinking part of it, where you use your brain and actually get it's the ideation bit at the beginning, really, to get your thoughts on paper as such. I mean, that's where the real thinking comes into it, and that's where your brain power comes into it. All the rest of it is just the formatting and messing around and trying to make it look pretty and in a presentable format. But the real thinking is done at the beginning, and that's where your skill comes into it, really.
So are there any more questions? I think, Sharon, you had a question.
No, I just wanted to add to that comment. I'm going to be working shortly with a company that creates software for business information systems, and they're actually bringing me on board to help them with that, integrating their systems with my leadership hat on. So the answer to that really is good leadership. When you're bringing mind mapping into your company, you have to think about what the impact is, the resistance to change, the fear of using a new product. There's a number of things that are going to happen when you introduce something new. So you have to, from the beginning, be strategic and place in a soft skills leadership ethic along with your... for this tool, it's a business information system. Most people are going to be using it to start with before they find out all the other things that they can do with it. So leadership and soft skills combined with the tool.
So probably making use of those champions in the business is going to be very important. We've got to find the people in the organisations who are the champions and probably support, enable them. So any further questions before I leave off? Oh, now we're getting in it. Try that one.
I'd just be interested in getting a feel for, with one platform and another, and each one will have advantages and things that are attractive about them, to the extent to which one platform and another will be able to import maps created in on another platform, whether there's moves towards that or not.
In my opinion, sorry, Raag,
Yep.
in my opinion, the person who demonstrated... In my opinion... Sorry, if I can give an answer to that and just use it as a point to wrap up, I'm just conscious of time. In my opinion, the illustrator of how important that is how successful Craig's app has been. How many people in here have used iThoughts? So would you or would you not agree that one of the most useful things from an early stage was it could import and export other map formats? Correct. So I think you're absolutely right. It is an important thing. Obviously, the software developers have what they're trying to achieve, and that's. But I think the success that Craig has had, I would say one of the things that I hear people remark about iThoughts is exactly that. So I would say it's absolutely a valid objective, I think. Yeah. Raag, I'm going to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And
thanks, everyone.
invite my next speaker. Cheers.